as arduous or anything. It was just, tearing down all the shit, putting it back up. There's like a pretty heavy security check when we came in. Driver, step out of the vehicle, with the door open, the window down, and, up against that wall in a fashion that I can pat you down and check everything. And then he'd be like, passenger, same routine, back driver, back passenger, middle passenger, everybody out one at a time, searched and all that. And then the foreman, hey, foreman, go and open up the knack box, open up the other knack box, open up the glove box, everything, show me your bag. Oh, it was like a crazy search, dude. I mean, everything except for the glove, And then the whole time they're doing this, there's this, 18-year-old kid who's bored out of their mind holding a freaking machine gun, just waiting to spray you for whatever fucking reason. And, yeah, man, it was crazy. But, yeah, I mean, as long as you didn't, do anything stupid, nothing happened, but it was still, working on base I thought it was cool. Everybody else hated it, but I thought it was cool. You gotta be next to all that hardware and choppers and shit, and it was cool. Where else do you see that kind of stuff? But, anyway, you slice it. People didn't like it, so... And it wasn't that far from town. I just got tired of working, in the middle of nowhere, North Dakota, in another freaking prairie field, sweating my ass off, or walking through, slough, swamp, just, that shit got old. Not seeing my, never having cell reception and being able to talk to my kid. Just got old, man. Got old quick. So... it was a breath of fresh air going to the military base or being the yard guy, comparatively. I had fun. Yeah. Good stuff. I wonder how people are doing out there these days. We were all having a good time back then. A lot of my buddies were from California, which is funny because that's where I'm from. They actually were from not too far away from where I was from. So it was pretty interesting. But yeah, a lot of Californians out there. You gotta think at the time in 2013, the economy wasn't doing all that great. Jobs were kind of hard to find. I mean, they were out there for the same reason I was out there, to make a go of it. And I guess that's what we did. That's what we did. Yep. I implore anybody. That was a cool job. Let's see, I'll make little panels here. Yeah. But that taught me a lot of stuff. It taught me that it's not impossible to do something just because you think it might be hard. Well, that doesn't mean nothing. On top of that, I gotta learn how to use a, forklift and every freaking power tool imaginable. Was there some douchebags out there? Absolutely. But they could say the same thing about me. Oh, that Uber guy is a douchebag. So it's all in the eye of the beholder, I guess. But I like to think that I get along with people pretty decent. I was a bartender for years. It was part of my job. Was reading people and getting along with them and shit. So we'll see. We'll make this tower all funky looking here. But yeah, it was cold out there, man, but Minot wasn't bad. A lot of people didn't like it. Oh, it sounds boring. It's like, why? Because it's not in New York City. It's boring. It's like, it was only expensive because of all the stuff going on in the area, It was the only reason why it was even remotely expensive. What should we do over here? Put these little things in here. But yeah, everything had to stop. Everybody's gonna come home at a certain point. And then the whole fracking thing, you know, that was kind of controversial. I can see why. You know, the process of fracking is very can be very hazardous, but the one good thing was, you know, it was regulated. It was regulated and it was dealt with, and it wasn't that bad if you ask me. But I'm no geoengineer. I don't know that stuff. So we'll have our little guy here. We'll do a little kind of stuff going on here to shade it up a little bit. But yeah, fracking and all that was crazy. So, what else should we put in our little picture here of this little base that's abandoned? Put a little antenna there. And then maybe like one of those old TV things here, you know? Put it like that. And yep. Beautiful country out there, though, North Dakota. There's a lot of, you know, some people think there's a lot of nothing, and there is a lot of nothing. But you just gotta know where to look. There's a lot of something too, you know. It's very beautiful out there. Yeah, you just gotta, like, you know, just gotta look. I guess that's all I gotta say, you know. You just gotta look. All the floor of this guy here in the background. But yeah, I mean, every place has its beauty. North Dakota was no different. Just a different kind of beauty. Just gotta get to know it. So I'm thinking about making like a big crash spaceship, like right here. You know, like we'll use our 02 here. So we'll make it so it's kind of cuts through there a little bit. So it like came in like, yeah. Our spacecraft crashed in the base, the old base. You know, it's funny how the algorithm works. Ever since I've been making these more art-based things on my channel, I've been getting like a ton of other art-based stuff, you know, which is awesome. People that are far better than me, you know, in their execution and stuff, which is awesome. You know, it's cool to see that kind of stuff. I'm hoping mine is out there the same, you know. Hoping people are able to check out my stuff. That'd be cool. I don't, you know, I've never considered myself like a classically good artist. I don't like doing life drawing or any of that stuff. I like more cartoonish things, more comical things. Yeah, that's just how I am, you know. That's the kind of stuff I like drawing. And some people like it. But, yeah. What the algorithm does, the algorithm does. So hopefully you guys are seeing me out there. And please like and subscribe, comment, you know, hang out with me, you know, like, you know, this is baby steps for me. I'm figuring it out when it comes to just sitting here talking to myself, you know, in a camera. I guess it's not that unusual, but, you know, it'd be nice to go live one day. I don't know how, you know, I gotta do a little more research on it. I'm sure there's a subscriber amount you need and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just getting started, so, but I'm trying to come up with some ideas, you know. It'd be cool to go live and just sit here and talk like this and draw a cool picture like this over a couple hour period, and yeah. And just go, you know, even if people donated, that'd be awesome, and if they didn't, that's whatever too, you know. That'd be awesome, obviously, but, you know, at a certain point, hopefully I'll get monetized or something, and maybe we can make a little money out of this and do this more often. But in the meantime, just doing it is cool enough. And you always got to keep your skills good, you know. Like I'm writing, like I've said in my other art and talks, I'm making a graphic novel right now. It's my first one, so it's you know, the process is I'm learning as I go. I made other books. I made the coloring book and stuff, but that's not published anywhere. You know, it's kind of funny. I sent out my coloring book. You know, I found companies that are accepting submissions and yada yada, and then companies that aren't, that have submissions that aren't actively seeking. And I've sent my book out to tons of people, probably 30 or 40, and I got a weird response the other day from a company. It's called Europe Books. I looked them up, and it sounds kind of, I mean, I don't want to say anything against them, but we'll just say a lot of negative reviews. Anyway, the question she asked me was like, oh, do the images you sent me, you know, as a submission, are these do you own these copyrighted images? And it's like, well, yeah, they're mine. I put the, you know, circle in the sea, and, you know, copyrighted them, and I own the originals. And so yeah, they're mine. And before that, she had contacted me like, you know, 7 times or something. Oh, hi, how you gonna meet you up, blah, blah, this thing, you know. And then after I told her that, just I've had no contact with them. So that's kind of interesting, you know, like what's going on here. But yeah, like I said, just looking at the reviews, they've said, you know, I don't know, not very reputable company. Or they're like you know, give me, you know, X amount of thousands of dollars and I'll make you, you know, 700 books and then you can sell them. It's like, well, you just go on, you know, if I really got desperate enough, I'll pay somebody to take my coloring book and put it on, you know, freaking Amazon. You know, just because I've had trouble doing it in the past doesn't mean that it's not possible. You know, if I just get somebody that's a little more computer savvy than me, that knows a little bit more about things like Photoshop and Illustrator, you know, I'll pay somebody like, hey man, take this book and put it on freaking Kindle Direct Publishing for me, please, and I'll pay you. And you know, so, but it's like, why did that lady never get back to me after I told her that I owned the images, you know? It's either that, because what I said in my message was like, oh, you know, if this, because the way her messages were very, you know, oh, we want to meet up and talk, and want to talk about your book, it looks very cool, is there anything I should know, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, after I'd read some reviews, I just said on an email, nicely, not being a jerk or nothing, I said, yes, I own all the copyright images, everything's mine, I own the originals, blah, blah, blah. And the reason I'm sending this book out is for somebody to publish it, not for me to pay to have it published. So if that's the service you guys are, then I have to decline any kind of, you know, future business with you. And she didn't even bother getting back to me after that with a, yeah, we are, sorry, blah, blah, you know, in the future, maybe, you know, if you want, nothing. But then it made me start thinking, like, why does she want to know if those images were mine? Like, am I going to find my book published in freaking India, you know, where she thinks I won't find it or something, you know? And it's like, by all means, do it, please. Please publish it. Then I can sue you and get some money out of the deal for my coloring book. But it's like, I'd much rather have somebody publish it, you know, and make some money off of it like that. So, I guess we'll see what happens with that whole scenario. Just seemed kind of weird to me. We'll put it like this while I'm drawing, so I got more of the picture. Moving the pad around is just part of the, you know, getting better angles at stuff. So yeah, it's like, you know, I hope that lady isn't publishing my book behind my back. I mean, it's not like it would be the first time something like that's happened. So, we'll see. And it's like, what do you even do if something like that happens? You call a lawyer and... Well, I'm not a freaking millionaire. I can't do anything. Just, you know, these big publishing houses might even know that. Like, what are you going to do about it? I'll publish your book. You take me to court, and it'll take years and a lot of money. And in the meantime, I'll just, you know, if the book is successful, I'll just make all this freaking money, and then I'll file bankruptcy, and then piss off. And then it's like, well, snap. That'd be horrible. I can't think of a worse thing for an artist to go through than put a lot of time, effort, and attention into making a book or any whatever there are, you know, a famous song, you know, or any of that stuff, and have it stolen by some big greedy company that knows you can't afford to do anything about it. Oh yeah. We live in an effed up world, people. We really do. Really do. Lately, I've been telling myself, because I'd be on Instagram bitching at somebody, you know, or something. And I've been telling myself lately, all right, no more injecting my opinion on stuff to perfect strangers if it's nothing nice. You know, if I see some rage bait and I want to comment on it, oh, you son of a, you know, whatever, just to refrain from that. Because I've told myself, don't be part of putting negativity into the world if you can help. Do I always, you know, stick to it? No, there are times when I'm on there bitching, but it's like, I do catch myself and go, nope, you promised the universe that you would stop that behavior. And you know, because it's no good. So I've been trying to do that lately as my good thing for the universe. And I guess it's working a little bit. A little bit. We shall see. So we got our crashed alien spacecraft here. Crashed at this old army site here in the middle of nowhere. In the desert. It's all crinkled up right there. Our old place here, and we'll have like you know, some rubble all piled up there in the background. Yeah, crashed alien spaceships, always cool. But you know, funky how it works. You guys believe the government does that? Think about it. When you think about human history and the level of advancement we were at up to World War II, and then after World War II, especially with, you know, the atomic bomb attracted other life over here for whatever reason.